Hello, Anil. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
hi. Anil.
Hi, Anil. I'm sorry, actually. I got caught up with a bad cold and also I couldn't wake up in the morning. Is my voice clear and is it okay?
Okay.
Hello, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
it is okay. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. I can.
All
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
can you hear me? That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
hope you can
చెప్పండి.
see my screen also, right?
అంటే
Can
మీ
you see my screen?
అదే కొంచెం లో వినిపిస్తుంది మీ వాయిస్. యా, ఐ కెన్ సీ యువర్ స్క్రీన్.
Mhm. Yeah. Is this fine now? I really caught up with a bad cold.
యా, ఓకే.
Ah, I'll say anyway, tomorrow will not be having, hopefully by tomorrow.
ఓ, అవునా? ఓకే.
అంటే రేపు సండే కదా ఇంకా నేను అనుకోలేదు.
యా, ఓకే.
ఓకే దెన్
ఓకే.
let's move on to what did we discuss yesterday. So we discussed yesterday about the SDLC, right? Software Development Life Cycle.
ఎస్డిఎల్సి.
Yeah, so software life cycle we were discussing about ATL course content, updated, content. So we discussed various, fine. Give me a minute. I'm just opening the other document also. So yesterday we discussed about SDLC. In the SDLC, what are the what is that? No, deliverables of each phase, right? So in that, like it starts with, as it's a requirement analysis. So requirement analysis, the BA will capture the requirements in standard waterfall model itself, and they will, discuss with the clients, and they will capture the requirements. They will translate their business requirements into IT requirements. So what is the outcome of it, which is more important? This is nothing but RPRT, or high level requirement document
I
is the
can't,
outcome.
actually, I can't see your screen.
Can't see my
Do
screen.
you,
I'm sharing it. Let me reshare and sure. Can you see now?
yeah, now I can see. Yeah, I can see now.
So next goes to design phase. Design phase, what are the deliverables from a dev team and a test team, right? So what are all the deliverables from dev and test team? Basically, design after understanding the requirements of the dev team and test team, both will go through the requirements and all. They will come up with the, dev team along dev lead along with the dev team. They will come up with the what we call later part. And somebody got messed up. One second. They will come up with the test design, technical design document. Or typically, if it is what would be the artifacts for our data warehouse testing, and basically, if it is a kind of a regular one, like we will come up with the test design technical design document, dev team, or what could be the other artifacts you could think of. For you also, the mock-up screenshots, right? Any mock-up screenshots
Okay.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. UI design documents, any technical design documents, or even the functionalities like, what are all the classes that they are going to display and all that stuff, they will come up. So what are they going to come up? Basically, technical feasibility and then technical design document, which should be reviewed by all, okay, TDD, or some high-level architecture diagrams, right? Dev team in the sense like, dev lead, I meant with the architecture team also. Architecture diagrams. What are your technical
Okay.
architecture diagrams, right? Business people in BRD, like, you'll be having business diagrams, or we will be having here technical architecture diagrams. And for us, most importantly, the deliverable will be data flow diagrams. In the context of ETL testing or data warehouse testing. Okay, data flow diagrams and all this stuff, they will come up with whatever is the standard one, they are going to come up with. Here, for us, like, in ETL testing, what do we mean by PRT or high level requirements? It's nothing but your mapping document. Okay, the jargon we do refer it as a mapping document. I'll explain you what is a mapping document also. But this is where actually we will be getting the mapping document. So what is the source, what is the target, and how actually it is mapping with the source field to target field, and all that will be written in an Excel document. So that is nothing but a mapping document. So here,
Who will give that mapping document?
sorry, I'll show you.
Who give that? Okay.
This mapping document typically a business analyst is supposed to do. If not business analyst, they are not the technical people. Should be done by, again, architecture, data modeler, or data engineer. We will call it as, right? Dev lead,
Okay.
architecture, architect. Each and every project will be having data modeler, data engineer. Data engineer has to prepare this mapping document for us, which is the Bible for us. Okay, unless it is a new code and all, usually they will have to give the mapping document, but most of the times they will not give mapping documents, and they're like, the reason could be, it could be an existing one or something like that. So it is the responsibility of the data engineer, or data engineer would ask, dev lead to prepare the mapping document, and then they will do review and all. But ideally, data engineer is the one who has to approve who has to create the mapping document in conjunction with the business. Okay.
Okay.
There is no business analyst and code. Whoever is the liaison between the client and us, they are the responsible ones. And in different projects, it works in a different way. In my earlier project, PA is the whole and sole responsible, who is to do everything and all. She is the one point of contact for me, as well as a dev also, because she's technically good also. She is to take care of technical things as well as business and all. So she is the one point of contact who is to prepare the mapping documents, who is to explain us and all, business analyst. But in my current project, that role will be taken care by data engineer, right? So either it could be, or BA or BA in conjunction with the data engineer. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the guideline. This should be done by. Okay, here I am in the BRD itself, requirement phase itself will come up with the mapping document. And again, here it can be done by BA or business people. Sometimes they will not be that much technical, then data engineer is responsible. Okay. So usually you will have to get the mapping document out of the requirement analysis. So what
Okay.
then architecture diagram and all, what is the data flow diagrams and all, data lead, dev lead, architect or data modeler, data engineer will do. Okay, the flow diagrams and all. I'll show you like how it will be each and every phase. And okay, how a sample mapping document look like.
Okay.
There is one thing is known as a PDM also, we do call. This could be the, ideally, these are all the artifacts that we are supposed to have. What do we mean by PDM? Physical data modeling.
Okay.
Physical data modeling document. Meaning, in mapping document, we will be having only, let me just say that's 5.1. In mapping document, we'll be having only the source and target, and this field, the transformations that we applied and all that stuff, it is going to be there.
A date do 512 and better, actually 413.
Sorry?
Yes. Date 512 and better, actually
413, sorry, yeah. Yeah. I think I meant 4th one is April 12th, right?
Yeah. Maybe with US format use చేస్తున్నారు.
Dizzy also in the night. Cold సరిగ్గా వేసుకుని పడుకున్నాను.
అవునా? Okay.
I thought of not taking, but నాకు కొంచెం సెంటిమెంట్ సెకండ్ బ్రేక్ ఎందుకు.
ఓకే. బట్ ఎక్కువసేపు చెప్పలేకపోతే కొద్దిసేపు.
That is what I thought. Let me complete the Scrum process and we'll see.
Yeah, okay.
So again, I'll be covering this, how the mapping document look like and all, sample the mapping document and all in detail later. Let's park it. These are all the each and every phase. What are the high level text? So physical design document, what it will say PDM, physical design, physical data modeling document or design document, how it contains. It will contain the what we call the high level table architecture. What I meant was it's some metadata basically. Okay. So how it looks like physical data modeling document. What are all the, let me open in Excel and then I can show that to you. What are all the, basically, the sample mapping document I used to have. Okay, it was created in Informatica only. It varies from project to project, but typically it is a kind of one second, Andy. Are you hearing any noise?
No. I'm
Transformation and then okay, I can show you later, like what is this mapping document. Somewhere it used to be there. So it will be typically consist of your source and target fields, each and every source and target field, and how it is exactly going to look like. Okay. So it is a simple Excel document only, no need to worry. So what are all the data that it contains and all that stuff it will be having. And it's going to display, like, it's kind of a source field name, target name, what are all the source table. So sometimes the table could be only one table, but target will be multiple tables also, it is going to split. Okay, target 1, target 2, and all that stuff. What is the target table name? What is the source table name, schema name, and all. So what do they do? Each and every field will be having, the data type will be having. Okay, here it will be consist of the field name and the data type name also. Okay, data type, what is it's a num character and all, the length and all that stuff it will be having. In some of the mapping documents, they will call out, because in what would happen typically, there might be clubbing like physical data modeling document or architecture diagram with the PDF. Okay, this could be physical data design document or architecture diagram also. So they will change, they will use it as an interchangeable. So using this, high level diagram, you can just visualize, like, what are all the data types, what is the field and all in a particular table, which field exists in this. This is about the metadata that they will be referring it. And the target here, what are all the transformation that they do apply. Suppose I am going to fetch the data from source 1 and source 2 also. Okay, this field, particular field, XYZ, field name is XYZ. Say an example, this is ABC. Okay, the field name is student number. I'm going to fetch from multiple sources. That is what is ETL meant first, right? So source 1 and then source 2. Source 1 and source 2. So here it is getting fetching from the field name data type also. This is also number. Okay, SIO 2. I'm sorry, there was a glitch in my computer. SIO 2. And this is also number. What is this? Excuse me. This is also number. But this is from one particular table, and this is from another table, or it could be fine. And I'm using an union operator serial number from both these things. Say an example, I'll tell you. So what are all the transformations that I'm using? If it's a straight pull, they are going to mention it's direct pull from source 1, or if it is a union operation from source 1 to source 2, like that, those details and all the transformations. If it is a direct pull, they will be mentioning that. Okay. So they will mention clearly on the mapping document. What is an architecture diagram or a data flow diagram or even a physical data modeling represents? It will represent the Visio diagram, or it is going to call out all the tables, field names, data types, lengths, and all that. It will not talk about any kind of transformations in your physical data modeling diagram. Any kind of logic, how is it going to pull and all. What it should contain, it will give the high level structure of the table, right? How many fields it should be there, what fields, what are the field names, what are the data types, what are the lengths and all that stuff. It is going to be defined in the physical data modeling diagram. Remember, physical data modeling diagram, sometimes they may refer it within the data architecture diagram, or data flow diagram is something that, how the data flows from each and every entity in the sense like table, from one table to how that flows and all that will be referred basically. Okay. So these things
from
are
one table to
other table, or how many tables it is going to flow, how, and all that, how the data flow happens basically. Okay. That will be referred by data flow diagrams. Okay. And I can show that. I think that somewhere I have saved it. This is, so these are all the typical deliverables, and also the deployment plan, release plan. As I told, I think release notes, right? Release notes or deployment plan. They will be publishing also, meaning like, all the tables will not be deployed into all the tables will not be deployed into one time, right?
Okay.
Suppose, yeah, all the features, even not only the tables, all the features, if we are going actually, okay, for this particular phase, I'm going to deploy 10 master tables. okay, which are the key tables if you think, and with the derived tables or something like that, okay, 10 derived tables or CTEs or whatever it is. What is the deployment plan? Basically, it may not be with respect to the tables only. In ETL, we are talking about the context, but any features like, deployment plan and the release dates also, they will be going to give the deployment plan. Whose responsibility is this? Technical team. Okay, they're all supposed to publish this and during the design phase only, right? So release
Okay.
plan or deployment plan and release objects like, how to deploy and all are release notes. This is nothing but the guidelines for the what we call production team. Release notes would be the guidelines for the production team or whoever it is, like, if we are going to only deploy the data into our test environment, right? How to run the jobs and all those details should be in documented in release notes. Okay, after the sequence and what is that, everything should be documented along with the deployment plan only. Okay, so release notes will contain the deployment plan and how to, suppose these many number of jobs needs to be triggered, and this is the master job, how to configure the data. So configuration parts, how to load the data, everything will be mentioned in the release notes. Okay, configuration of the environment, data loads, typically how to perform the data load. These will be documented in the release notes. Typically, we as a SIT team, we may or we may not load the data. Okay. Ideally, in test environment, we are responsible for the data load in QA. But nowadays, like, QA will not have a separate condition and so many dates and all. I hardly could load that. I mean, after my 4 to 5 years of projects in experience in at least, like, I overall have 10 years of experience in data warehousing projects and all. So data loads most of the times like will be disowned by SIT team. There will be app support team, which is nothing but your production support team, which is going to will be loading the data into data loads, or it is going to be a kind of in QA itself will have kind of 2 or 1 more support, or dev team typically will load the data for us. Okay, it again depends on project to project. Many of the times, like, they will give the instructions anyway, like, if the data needs to be loaded multiple times, it is with the kind of with minimal KT or whatever it is, data loads will perform. So how to do that data load and how to set up that environment and all that will be load, I mean, not the environment after procuring the server and all, how to load the data, basically, all these steps in context of ETL, and I'm talking about in context of data warehousing will be documented in the release notes only. Okay. And deployment plan, what are all the tables and all, everything it is going to be. I'll tell you what is a snapshot also. So what do we mean by data load? We need to have, in order to test that, table after the tables are created and all, we need to have the sufficient data to test all the conditions, right? Basically. So all that sufficient data, we will be loading the data, extracting and loading the data using some of the ETL tools, right? Extraction, transform.
It could be like fake, I mean, real data from the customers, or it can be
It
any
can be real data from the customer also. The prod data also, we will take the backup of the prod data, but there are certain rules when you are taking the backup of the prod data. Okay. So prod data typically contains the customer. If it is an existing application, right, you already have a prod data that contains, and you're going to actually add one more feature or somewhere in the system, like, in the source system, the prod data already exists. So you can take the backup of the prod data, copy the prod data into QA environment. But when you're QA environment or any lower environments, right, prod or pre-prod data, okay, wherever is there.
Okay.
Okay, it could be your prod or pre-prod data anyway. Like backup or copy the prod data, backup the prod or pre-prod data. But what do you need to do? What is important is when you're copying the prod data, we need to ensure the PII information will not be there. What do we mean by PII? Personally identifiable information.
Okay.
Okay. Any sensitive information, data sensitivity, any sensitive information that pertains to the customer needs to be masked. So that needs to be data masking. That is called as a data mask.
Yeah.
Okay. Meaning hiding the customer sensitive fields. If it doesn't have a sensitive data, you can directly copy and what we call take the backup of it. But I mean, typically it again varies from organization to organization. As a QA resource, I'll request for the data copy team to, I mean, I'll not be having access to copy prod data into my QA argument. I will just, write the simply data copy request in one of the tools. In my current project, how I'll tell you. Okay, I'll just write the. So those people will look into that one and they will identify if there are any personal identifiable fields or not, and then they will do the data masking. So this is where the tricky question is. Data masking is altogether, it depends on the, again, the algorithms and all when you are copying and all. So when interviewers try to trick you, like, will you do the data masking and all, you can just safely say, no, there is another team that will perform the data masking. We will be only raising the request. Okay. To create a data copy in any tool and all, because data masking will be a separate concept, like, what all. But the sensitive information should be hidden. What are all the sensitive information for the customer? Basically, if you take an example of cards only, your credit card information, obviously. And I don't know in US, in Australia, but you will be having the SSN information also, right? Social security number that needs to be masked. And phone number, customer phone number. Okay, if it is with respect to the healthcare and all, like, the patient history, insurance details. What are all the sensitive information that we will be getting it? Okay, so for us, what would happen? We will raise a request, but that should be approved by the data engineer. Data engineer has to approve that request. You can just safely say that we will raise a request and data engineer is going to approve that request. Okay. If it is a prod data, then there's a team, data copy team, or, our platform team. We call them as a platform team. Basically, platform team will perform the data copy. Okay. From prod data to. Okay. And this one, what is that in QAR? Okay. So if they ask you, have you ever involved in copying the data from prod to this one? How about this data copy? This is a kind of tricky that they will try to trick you. So because data masking sometimes, in some of the projects only testing team will do. Testing team will do in the sense they will just ensure that, whether those fields are masked or not only. Okay. But for us, like, we will be having a separate team and all. But the masking, when you are performing this data copy, we need to ensure that this customer sensitive information is masked. Okay. So we say that, the safer side, say that we are going to raise a request. We have that tool. So upon raising that request, once it has been approved from the data engineer saying that, the data sensitive data has been masked, and data engineer will identify that there is no personally identifiable information like PIA, then they are going to approve that. Okay. So once the data has been, once the request has been approved, your platform team or support team, whoever it is, they will be performing this copy of the data. Data load is different from the data copy. I'll tell you what is that. Okay. That is our data copy of the prod data. What is our data? This is one part of backup of the product. It is one part of data, test data, what we call generation. One is if it's an existing one. If there is no existing data from multiple sources, different source it is coming, then we will perform the. We will get the approval of data engineering. Oh, sorry, 10 minutes. Okay. We can continue until today, 10 o'clock only, 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Not then it is a data extraction. I'll let you know how do we extract and all that. We'll keep calling it as through jobs and all. We'll perform the data loads. How to do that also needs to be documented in the release notes. Okay.
Okay.
That is if it is data loads or the data copy. Release notes should contain data copy or data load. So if it is a data copy, right, the process, if it is a data copy, right, it will be kind of, it is mostly for the existing systems. It would be easy to generate the test data. Okay. And the deployment plan, it will contain what are the deliverables from the QA end. So ideally, these are all the artifacts we can, but why I'm telling all these things is sensitive information. These are all the artifacts that you can demand from the developer, if you know. Like you can ask them,
Okay.
where is that? And if
So,
they say that, these are all the things you should name.
asked by QA lead, right? QA
Right.
lead.
Right, to a lead, or you
Yeah.
can ask them in your developer, where is this and all. If they say that, there will not be notes, it's something like this, that they will be following. Yeah, it is not necessary that, they will go along with this jargon, but similar to that, we will be referring that. Okay, because you're going as a 6 years experienced person, right? So I'm explaining it to you elaborately. Otherwise, will not be in detail like this. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So after the design phase, let's come back to QA end. We will be having the test plan. I think yesterday we discussed what is there in test plan and all. QA end, it is a test strategy document and then test plan document. Okay. What is the defect lifecycle reporting and all that stuff, and about all the test metrics, everything will be there. That is from the QA end, the deliverable. So that is for the design phase. Okay. Then after you are done with the design phase, what is it is going to be the deliverables for each part. Implementation phase. Implementation is typically code development. Okay. Delete this all because it was already covered. You might getting. So we clearly discussed on and the test plan and all yesterday. You were clear, right? Implementation or development. So what are all the typically the deliverables? What a build or deployment plan will not be part of this. My bad. Release notes and all will be the developer. So implementation, what would be the developer? Your finally developed code, right? That is your usually targeted developer. Finally developed code, and once the code is developed and all, then they might go with the release notes over here instead of the technical design document. So sometimes they will say that, we are also yet to know what jobs and all. So they will come, they will be confident only. Ideally, they were supposed to give it in the design phase only. In waterfall model, they will give it in the design phase. Whereas in Scrum and all, they will push it to the implementation or developer phase, because they'll say that, oh, I will not be having, it is not frozen, right, at each and every stage. This is the difference one. So if something happens, so waterfall, what it will do, initially they will spend a lot of time on the design. They will come up with the design, and then they are going to develop the code, taking it as a Bible, right? If something happens, flaw happens in design, the code will be developed like that. If something flaw happens, then again, they will have to go back and change it in the design only. Then they're going to revisit this developed code, right? So this is the waterfall model. So implementation phase, what will happen? They will give the finally developed code. And of course, the release notes also, sometimes they will give here deployment plan, what needs to be deployed afterwards and all. And then release notes will be given. Okay. So testing phase, what it will happen, like, testing phase will start executing test execution, test monitoring or controlling, how many test cases we are executing and all that stuff at testing phase, test execution, and then documenting the test results. Our artifacts would be test results, right? Documenting the test results, the final results, and defect tracking.
Okay.
Okay, defect closure and all that stuff will be doing. So final deployment plan and release notes. Ideally in Waterfall, we will be expecting the deployment plan here itself, but they might push it back to this implementation phase. Implementation, people will start the test cases also, because scenarios only we have written in design phase. So here we will be writing the test cases. So testing phase in waterfall model, then we will start the writing as and when, sometimes it is parallelly in implementation or development phase. What QA will do? QA will start writing the test cases. So based on what? On the design document only. Right? On design document. Where is it? Exactly, TDM or architecture diagrams. Data engineer, data flow diagrams will be given, technical design, release notes, and this is out of the context, but I just told you data copy and all, how it performs, because interviewers will try to trick you. Okay. So what are all the final deliverables after implementation phase? We will be usually release notes and all. Okay. How to perform the data loads and all that it will consist. This data copy is a separate context, basically. So this all the data copy and all, because QA will have certain bandwidth, right? They will ask in the implementation phase only, before the testing starts, how to prepare the test data preparations and all that. Okay. Or in the testing phase, they will write, when usually development team is building this developing the code, right? Implementation phase. Okay. So dev team is doing building the code. What do we write? Like as a QA, you will write the test cases authoring and also test data generation. Okay. Environment setup, test environment setup, test data generation. Okay. All other test cases based on design document. Okay.
Okay.
And what would happen? QA will author the test cases based on design documents and also test data, test environment setup. Environment setup will be procurement of server. Okay, QA server. And test data identification, which is more important. How do you, either it is are we going to do load the test data based on the data loads? If so, how it has to be loaded and all, we need to get the release notes. Okay, test data identification, or we are going to copy the existing data.
Okay.
Or data copy. Either it is from the pre-prod and now. So with the data copy, how it will be done. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll just reconnect once again. It's going to be less than a minute. I'll be sharing and
Yeah. Okay.